I used to pay my bank $40 to tell me I had no money. Think about that for a second. I already had no money, and then I had even less money because I had no money. That's the thing about overdraft fees. They don't happen when you're doing fine. They happen when you're already stretched. And that's not a coincidence. I used to think overdraft fees were my fault. Like I just needed to be more careful. I believed that for years. Then I looked at the numbers. And I changed one setting. I'm paper profit. This is the video I wish someone had shown me at 23. Let's talk about overdraft fees, what they are, how much they cost, and how to make them stop. No apps to download, no budgeting systems. One setting. Okay, let's start with the basics. An overdraft happens when you spend more money than you have in your checking account. Your bank covers the difference, and then they charge you for doing that. The average overdraft fee in the United States is around $35. Some banks charge up to $37 or $38. And here's the part that gets me every time. The average overdraft transaction is less than $26. So you bought a $20 sandwich and it cost you $55. That sandwich has no business being that expensive. But here's where it gets worse. Most banks will charge you multiple overdraft fees in a single day. Some banks cap it at 3 or 4 per day. So if you're having a rough week and a few small charges hit your account when you're low, that's potentially $105 in fees in one day. I went through a stretch like that when I was renting my first apartment. I had a gym membership and a streaming service set to autopay on the same day. I forgot. My paycheck was 2 days out. 3 overdraft fees, $105. Gone. And my bank sent me a text to let me know. Helpful. Banks still make billions from overdraft fees every year. From people who already didn't have enough money. This wasn't designed for you to win. Okay, so how does the system actually work, and why does it keep catching people? There are a few mechanics here that most people don't know about. First is transaction reordering. Some banks process your largest transactions first, even if smaller ones came in earlier. Why does that matter? Because if you have $80 in your account and you spent $10 in the morning, and then $200 on a car payment in the evening, if the bank processes the $200 charge first, your account goes negative right away, and then every smaller charge after that is another overdraft. Instead of 1 overdraft fee, you get 3. Many banks stopped this after lawsuits, but some didn't. Second is the opt-in trap. Here's something a lot of people don't know. Federal rules say that banks cannot automatically enroll you in overdraft coverage for debit card purchases. You have to opt in. Banks ask them at account opening, or in an email, or in a letter buried in fine print. And the pitch sounded reasonable at the time. Would you like us to cover your transactions if you run low so your card doesn't get declined? Sure, that sounds nice. What they didn't explain clearly is that every time they cover you, they charge you $35. A lot of people said yes without fully understanding what they were agreeing to. That's not an accident. Third is pending transactions and available balance confusion. Your actual balance and your available balance are not always the same number. Sometimes a charge is pending, meaning it's been authorized but hasn't officially posted yet. Your bank might show you a higher number than what's actually safe to spend. You spend based on what you see. The pending charge posts. Overdraft fee, $35. Okay, so that's the problem. Now, let me tell you what I actually did. Step 1 was the most important. I turned off overdraft coverage. That's it. That's the one setting. I went into my banking app, found account settings, and turned off overdraft protection for debit card purchases. Now when I try to buy something and I don't have enough, my card just gets declined. That's it. No transaction, no fee, just a declined card and a slightly embarrassing moment at the register. I'll take the embarrassment for $35. The decline is free. The overdraft is not. Now some people hear that and say, but what if I really need to use my card in an emergency? That's a fair question. My honest answer is, if I'm at the point where I'm overdrafting to cover emergencies, the overdraft fee is making that emergency worse. I'm not solving a problem by borrowing $35 from my future self to cover a $20 purchase. I'm creating a bigger problem. Note that this applies to debit purchases. Checks and auto-pay bills might still bounce with separate fees. Step 2. I set up a low balance alert. Most banking apps let you do this for free. You pick a number. I use $200. And when my balance drops below that, I get a text. Not an email. A text. Because I actually read texts, that alert is my early warning system. It gives me time to transfer money, delay a purchase, or just be aware before something autopays. Step 3. I moved my autopay dates. This took about an hour total across all my bills. I logged into each subscription and service and changed the billing date to a few days after my paycheck lands, not before. After, I got paid on the 1st and the 15th, so I moved everything to the 3rd and the 17th. A 2-day buffer. That buffer has saved me more than I can calculate at this point. Step 4, I started keeping what I call a shadow balance. This sounds complicated. It's not. I just mentally subtract $50 to $100 from whatever my actual balance shows. If my app says $340, I treat it as $240. That invisible cushion absorbs small timing errors, pending charges, forgotten subscriptions. It's not a budget. It's just a habit of thinking. Step 5, I looked at whether my bank was actually a good fit for me. A lot of online banks and credit unions have eliminated overdraft fees entirely, not reduced them. Some will let your account go slightly negative with no fee at all. Some will automatically transfer from a linked savings account to cover you at no charge. I'm not going to tell you which bank to use. But I will say if your current bank charges $35 every time you slip up, it's worth 10 minutes to see what else is out there. The switching process is annoying, yes, but so is paying $100 in fees in a week because you forgot a gym membership. Let me give you the actual math on why this matters over time. The average user who pays overdraft fees pays about 7 of them per year. 7 times $35 is $245 per year in fees. To be told you have no money. Over 10 years, that's $2,450. If you invested $245 a year instead, at a pretty average rate of return, you'd have somewhere around $3,500 after 10 years. That's not a get-rich number. That's just less money wasted on fees. Now I want to be honest about something. Turning off overdraft coverage doesn't fix a budget that's fundamentally too tight. If you're overdrafting because you genuinely don't have enough income to cover your expenses, that's a different and harder problem. The settings I mentioned help with timing issues and forgetfulness. They don't fix a situation where the math just doesn't work. If that's where you are, that's real, and it's worth addressing separately. But for a lot of people, and I was one of them, the overdrafts weren't about being broke. They were about timing forgetfulness and a system that made money off both. And that system works exactly as intended. So here's the actual checklist before I wrap up. Go into your banking app right now. Find Overdraft Settings. Turn off debit card overdraft coverage. Set a low balance text alert for whatever number makes sense for you. Shift your autopay dates to 2 or 3 days after payday. Mentally, subtract a small buffer from your visible balance. And if your bank still charges large fees with no alternatives, spend 10 minutes looking at other options. That's it. No app, no spreadsheet, no course. Just a few settings and a slightly different way of looking at your balance. Banks make billions of dollars a year from overdraft fees. Most of that comes from a small percentage of customers who get hit repeatedly. Understanding how the timing works and changing one setting is usually enough to stop being part of that number. I'm Paper Profit. I'm not a financial advisor, and I still get my card declined sometimes. It's fine. Declined is free.